So can you put in perspective what's happening over there? Because here in America, we see this statement. A royal spokesman says as follows: following further evaluation this morning, the Queen's doctors are concerned for Her Majesty's health and have recommended she remain under medical supervision. The Queen remains comfortable and at Balmoral, the Scotland residence. You know, as an American, you read that and you think, all right, well, it doesn't sound that bad. But I mean, the reaction across Great Britain right now suggests something else.
Yeah, first of all, thank you for having me on, Megyn. It's an absolute pleasure. I wish it was under better circumstances. You're right in that we have to read between the lines. When we see an official announcement from Buckingham Palace or from any of the royal family, it's always very short and very sweet. It's just the British way. You know, we are very subtle about these things. But if we are reading between the lines, it reads that things are not looking good. There's a tense atmosphere. You know, I've been in broadcast for some time now and I don't get nervous, but today I feel anxious. There's a broad feeling of anxiety in the United Kingdom. You know, it's pouring down with rain outside. It's pathetic fallacy. Her Majesty the Queen is, I think, the glue that holds this country together. She is the living embodiment of our constitution. You know, she's the person that protects our liberties from, you know, potential government dictators. She is the thing that unites us, the living embodiment of Britishness. And to think that her health might be at risk, severely at risk, it is concerning to a lot of us.
It seems that all four of her children, Charles, Anne, Edward, and Andrew, are either at her bedside right now in Scotland or are about to be. When we saw the Royal Air Force flying some in short time ago, including her grandson, Prince William, and Prince Harry. Again, the Daily Mail and the New York Post at least reporting that Meghan Markle, Prince Harry's wife, is not there. I do not know about Princess Kate. She's not listed. She's not, okay. And in addition, can we just talk for a moment about what's happening on the BBC? And please forgive me because I don't know what the protocol is, but some reporting that they've changed their website from having a red header to having a black header, that the BBC presenters, which is how we refer to the news people there, are changing into black ties and black suits. Is that true? And if so, what does it mean?
So I didn't know they were doing this already, but this is the protocol. So I have my black suit on today instead of a coloured jacket on because I will be on TV in the next few minutes after this broadcast. It's said that when Her Majesty does, when that time comes, we are to subtly change into black and we are to change our headers and all of this in a period of mourning. And even if you're not able to change, you're supposed to wear a black armband. This is the traditional English form of mourning that we will enter for some period if the worst does happen. But I'm just praying for the best at the moment because, you know, as with anyone's health, Her Majesty the Queen's health could take a turn for the better at any given moment. But looking at the brighter side of this picture, you know, just this week, Her Majesty swore in a new Prime Minister, the 15th Prime Minister of her reign. So Liz Truss, our new PM, met Her Majesty the Queen the other day. And that, you know, Her Majesty the Queen has sworn in from Winston Churchill to Margaret Thatcher. She's been stable. She's been the constant throughout so much of our recent history. It's incredible to think that she might not be a part of that picture one day.
Right. I mean, we all understand the way life works and the inevitable will come at some point. We don't know whether that day is today and are hoping it's not. And it's just amazing to me. We'll get to this, but the love for this monarch amongst the British people, it's withstood the test of time. You know, there have been dark times in even her family's history. And, you know, who could forget the annus horribilis that she referred to after Princess Diana. But today, this 96-year-old woman, I think it's fair to say, is almost universally beloved by the British people.
Right. I mean, prime ministers, presidents, popes even come and go, but Her Majesty the Queen has been there throughout. And I think that's important to us because other countries don't have that. You know, you guys have your flag and you unite behind your flag, but it doesn't quite embody the same feeling as a living, breathing representation of what we stand for as a British people. You know, she's been on the throne for over 70 years. She's delivered over 69 Christmas messages, introduced 15 prime ministers, been the patron of thousands of charities, the good work that she's done all around the country in the name of the British Empire formerly, and then the British Commonwealth of Nations more recently. And the fact that throughout all of this, she has maintained that Jesus Christ was her rock as well. She says that she is accountable to God. And for a public figure to say something quite as explicitly Christian as that would be considered quite strange these days, but she's maintained that throughout as well. So that's another reason that I hold her dear, that she's not afraid of her faith. And in fact, that's the thing that's given her a sense of service and duty.
That's sort of a theme of our show today. We were going to have David Limbaugh, Rush Limbaugh's brother. Forgive me to David for referring to him in that way over and over, but that's obviously Rush was such a giant. Everybody knows him. But he's got a book out on Jesus and on faith and on the Apostle Paul that we're going to be talking about in just a bit. But I think you're right. I mean, the Queen's commitment to her faith has been important at a time in which it continues to wane among the populace there and the populace here. She's needed it. It's been 70 years on the throne. She was 25 years old when her father died, and she took over as monarch. And, you talk about the first prime minister she swore in was Winston Churchill. Winston Churchill. Think about the tumult in the world at that time and that she's helped steady the nation through.
Oh, absolutely. And from a personal perspective, she's got 4 children, 8 grandchildren, 12 great grandchildren. But we as a nation tend to see her as the nation's grandmother, and she's been with us throughout that as well. Prince Philip, unfortunately, did die quite recently, and I think nothing's been the same since. But even with that, she's maintained that her faith has continued to give her strength. And one key element of that is forgiveness. So we all know that the IRA were the biggest terrorists of the time a few decades ago and targeted the royal family and actually killed Earl Mountbatten. But the Queen, Her Majesty the Queen, shook the hands of the leaders of Sinn Féin, the Irish Republic political party, in a sign that said, look, unity of Great Britain and Ireland and friendship and bringing the nationalists and the unionists together is more important than my personal heartbreak. And I think that the Christian value of forgiveness is something that's so important that we seem to be forgetting quite often these days in this time of cancel culture and wokeness.
And this is, our viewers should know who don't know you as well as I do from watching you on GB News and following you on Twitter and so on. This has been something you've bravely spoken out about. I mean, in great, smart, fierce terms from the start. You're definitely not pro cancel culture. Just a couple of other details on what's happening right now. The changing of the guard was canceled, we're told, at Buckingham Palace today. There's just a sign up that reads no guard changing ceremony today, where you would normally go and watch it. I mentioned the BBC presenter, more than one I'm told, in a black suit and black tie, and the change in the website. We're also told that there is now perhaps it's always thus, but extra, I guess, security, including barricades erected around Balmoral, as you might expect with so many in the royal family there. Some sort of a note had been handed to Prime Minister Liz Truss, again, brand new Prime Minister. So all we know for sure is that there's definitely something happening with the Queen and her health. Calvin, on Tuesday, we saw her with Liz Truss. This is the first time she ever did it at Balmoral in Scotland. The Queen is normally at Buckingham Palace for this, but she stayed in Scotland for it. She's obviously been struggling. And there were some comments on how her hands had bruises on them. The backs of her hands were very bruised up. I mean, she's 96 and she's been struggling with her health. And anybody who's ever had an IV put in them understands this can happen to you even when you're in your 30s or 40s, never mind in your mid 90s. But it's extraordinary that she could be this unwell 48 hours ago and still did her duty, still got dressed, still went out there, still met the incoming prime minister. I mean, extraordinary.
This is it. This is, Her Majesty the Queen is from another generation that understood the words duty, service, and obligation. In fact, when she acceded the throne, one of the first things she said was she was going to give her life in service to this country. And that is exactly what she has done. And I think she will do it right up until the moment that she dies. But the fact that she was willing to break tradition, and you know how important tradition is to the royal family and to the English in general, but broke tradition in meeting Liz Truss at Balmoral showed that she's not work shy. Even when she is very, very ill, she still wants to do her duty in meeting and swearing in the next prime minister. It's that important to her. And this is why she is the head of state for 54 nations around the Commonwealth. This is why people hold her in such high regard. They just don't make them like that anymore.
There's a growing sense of instability and uncertainty in America these days. The price of everything seems to be way up. Food prices especially have the nation reeling. So what if you could grow your own food. Wouldn't that be empowering? Wouldn't that lower your stress level? Let me introduce you to ARC Seed Kits. Love this. ARC Seed Kits is a family-owned and operated business providing heirloom seeds for over 13 years now. ARC Seeds wants to get heirloom seeds into every home in America. 99% of seeds sold today do not have the ability to reproduce. Only heirloom seeds can be harvested and regrown year after year. That's what you get from ARC. ARC's desire to equip every home in America with the ability to grow and harvest its own food led it to create the all-in-one seed kit. This is designed to grow calorie-dense vegetables and fruits to sustain any home at any time. You will even get a seed guide that will give you everything you need to know about growing and harvesting every variety included in the kit. For a limited time, we've partnered with ARC to offer a 10% discount code as well. So if you go to ARC Seed Kits, that's ARK, seedkits.com, and enter MK Seeds, you will get a 10% discount code and be on your way to food and economic security, helping you, your family, and your community. Visit ARCseedkits.com to order your seed kits today, and don't forget to use that code MKSeeds. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.